September 12, 1943. 14 and 23 hours. 6,000 feet above the Huon Gulf. The P-38 lightning banks hard into a wall of tropical cloud. Serial number 42-67638. Fuel gauge reads 47 minutes. Ammunition counters show 1,200 rounds of 50 caliber, 60 rounds of 20 millimeter cannon. Behind the cockpit glass sits a 22-year-old farm boy from Wisconsin who is about to attempt something that shouldn't exist. 6 Mitsubishi A6M50s close from behind, 800 yards in narrowing. Their pilots are confident. They've done this before. The twin-engine American fighter is heavy predictable. It will run or it will die. Those are the only options physics allows. The radio crackles. German accent, a quirk of war. He's turning back on us. What happens in the next 90 seconds will violate 3 separate Army Air Forces regulations. It will rewrite the manual on what a P-38 Lightning can do. And it will save the lives of more than 200 men who haven't even learned to fly yet. But first, we need to understand how a Swedish immigrant's son, who grew up elbow-deep in tractor engines, came to be here alone, outnumbered 6-1, about to prove that the difference between impossible and inevitable is just a matter of knowing which rules to break. The numbers tell one story. The Lockheed P-38J Lightning, 2 Allison V1710 engines in 1,425 horsepower each, maximum speed 414 miles per hour, service ceiling 44,000 feet, combat weight 21,000 pounds, wing loading 53 pounds per square foot. The Mitsubishi A6M50, Nakajima Sakai 21 radial engine, 1,130 horsepower, maximum speed 351 miles per hour, service ceiling 38,000 feet, combat weight 6,150 pounds, wing loading 28 pounds per square foot. Wing loading. That number matters. It's the equation that determines how tight an aircraft can turn without falling from the sky. Lower numbers mean tighter circles. The 0 can turn inside the P-38 the way a cat turns inside a dog's lunge. It's not opinion, it's mathematics. The 0's turn radius at combat speed. 492 feet. The P-38's turn radius at the same speed. 780 feet. Nearly 300 feet of difference. In a dogfight, that's the difference between the hunter and the dead. Every American pilot in the Pacific knows this. Training officers drill it into their heads. Never dogfight a 0. Use your speed. Use your altitude. Dive, fire, climb away. Boom and zoom. It's doctrine. It's survival. It's the only way a P-38 comes home. Except there's a problem with doctrine. It assumes every pilot flies the same way. It assumes every aircraft performs exactly as designed. It assumes limits are fixed instead of negotiable. And it doesn't account for farm boys who learned young that manuals are suggestions, not commandments. Superior, Wisconsin, 1935. The sound of a John Deere Model A tractor sputtering to silence in the middle of a half-plowed field. Late September, the kind of cold that comes early in the North Country and stays late. Frost on the stubble, the smell of diesel and soil, and the faint sweetness of dying prairie grass. Axel Lindgren is 12 years old, third of 9 children. Skinny kid with blonde hair that won't stay flat and hands already scarred from working metal. He stands next to his father, watching the tractor tick and cool in the failing light. Gustav Lindgren is 45, Swedish immigrant. Came through Ellis Island in 1911 with $8 and a carpenter's skill set that translated poorly to farmland. Learned machinery the hard way. Broke his knuckles on stubborn bolts. Burned his fingers on hot manifolds. Made every mistake exactly once, then never again. He kneels beside the engine housing, runs his hand along the carburetor assembly. The metal is warm. The fuel line shows pressure. Everything looks correct. Everything should work. Carburetor's fouled, he says. His English still carries the rhythm of Stockholm. Manual says replace. $8. New part from Minneapolis. 3 weeks delivery. $8. In 1935, that's a week's wages. 3 weeks is too long. The field needs finishing. Winter's coming. The mathematics of farming don't allow for delays. Axel watches his father's hands. Gustav doesn't reach for tools yet. He just touches, feels, listens to what the machine is trying to say through vibration and heat and the particular silence of a thing that should be running but isn't. What if we don't replace it? Axel asks. Gustav looks at him. Not the look that means be quiet, boy. The other look. The one that means think it through. Manual says replace, Gustav repeats. Manual is usually right. But manual was written by a man who never farmed in Wisconsin. Never worked with fuel that freezes. Never cleaned a carburetor at 15 below zero. He pulls a wrench from his hip pocket, 3/4 inch, worn smooth from use. Book says clean at 150 degrees. Gustav continues, but I think maybe this fuel this cold needs 180. Hot enough to burn off whatever's sticking. Not so hot, it warps the metal. He hands Axel the wrench. You do it. You learn by doing, not by watching. It takes an hour. They heat water on the plow's manifold, disassemble the carburetor piece by piece. Axel's fingers go numb. His father doesn't tell him to hurry, doesn't tell him the right way, just watches. Corrects when the correction matters. Stays silent when the silence teaches more. When they reassemble everything, when Gustav turns the ignition, the Model A catches on the second revolution. Smooth, strong, better than it ran that morning. They finish the field under moonlight. That night before sleep, Gustav says, limits are what weak men accept and strong men test. The book told us, replace. We asked, why not fix? The difference is $8 and knowing your machine better than the man who wrote the book. Axel is 12. He won't understand the full weight of this lesson for another 8 years. Not until he's alone at 6,000 feet with 6 enemies behind him and physics saying he's already dead. The boy who grows up coaxing life from stubborn machinery learns to read metal the way other boys read books. He learns that every engine has moods, that cold steel behaves differently than warm, that the whine of a bearing about to fail sounds different from the whine of a bearing under normal stress. He learns that the gap between what something is designed to do and what it can actually do is where knowledge lives. By 15, Axel can diagnose a tractor problem from 50 yards away just by listening. By 17, he's rebuilding engines in the barn while his brothers are out drinking in town. By 18, he's watching barnstormers at the county fair and thinking engines are engines, whether they're pulling plows or pulling air. May 1941. The world is already at war, even if America isn't officially in it yet. Axel enlists in the Army Air Forces. Not for patriotism, though he feels that too. Not for adventure, though he wants that as well. He enlists because flying is just another machine to understand, and understanding machines is what he does. Thunderbird Field, Arizona. Basic flight training. The heat is different from Wisconsin cold, but the principle is the same. Pay attention, learn the moods. Respect the limits, but know they're not absolute. His instructors note adequate reflexes and good hand-eye coordination. They note that he follows instructions precisely until he doesn't. That he asks questions about tolerances and stress limits that most cadets never think to ask. They don't note, because they don't see it, that Axel treats the AT-6 Texan trainer the same way he treated his father's tractors. With attention, with curiosity, with a constant low-level question running beneath every maneuver. What else can this do that the manual doesn't mention? He graduates in January 1942. Receives his wings. Gets assigned to P-38 Lightning training. This is before the war has turned. Before Midway. Before Guadalcanal. When American pilots are still learning how to fight the kind of war the Japanese have been practicing for years. The P-38 is strange. Twin boom. Twin engine. A pilot's compartment nestled between them like a seed between two wings. Heavy. Fast. Armed with 450 caliber Browning machine guns and one 20mm Hispano cannon, all mounted in the nose. No synchronization issues. No wing-mounted spread. Everything fires through a single point. When you hit hard. But it doesn't turn like a single-engine fighter. It can't. The physics won't allow it. The manual is clear. The instructors are clear. The P-38 is a boom and zoom fighter. Energy tactics, speed and altitude. Never ever try to turn with a zero. Axel listens, nods, flies the way they teach him, and then when he's alone, he starts asking questions. October 1941, morning flight. The Golden Gate Bridge spans the bay below Orange Towers, catching early sun. Axel is flying solo navigation training. San Francisco to Sacramento and back. Simple. Routine. The kind of flight that builds hours without building skills. He's at 3,000 feet. Airspeed 240 miles per hour. The AT-6 Texan feels light under his hands. Responsive. The sky is clear, visibility unlimited. The kind of day that makes you forget you're in a machine and feel like you're just a body in open air. He sees the bridge. He's not supposed to deviate from the flight plan. The rules are specific. Altitude, heading speed, stick to the program. But the question forms anyway. The same question that always forms. What if he pushes the stick forward? The Texan's nose drops. Airspeed builds. 260, 280. The bridge grows in the windscreen. He can see traffic. Tiny cars like beetles on a ribbon. At 150 feet, he rolls inverted. The world flips. Sky below, water above. The bridge towers are at eye level now, 220 feet from base to cable. He's got maybe 18 feet of clearance. Maybe. The barrel roll is clean, smooth. He feels the G-forces compress him into the seat, then lift him against the straps. The engine doesn't skip. The airframe doesn't shudder. Everything holds. He completes the roll wings level on the far side of the bridge, pulls up, climbs back to 3,000 feet, continues to Sacramento like nothing happened, except someone saw. Someone always sees. Back at Thunderbird Field, Captain Hayes is waiting. Not angry, past angry, into that cold space where anger becomes official. You buzz the Golden Gate Bridge. It's not a question. Axel doesn't lie. Lying would be insulting. Yes, sir. You performed aerobatics in restricted airspace at unsafe altitude. Yes, sir. You violated 5 separate regulations. Yes, sir. Hayes is quiet for a moment. Then why? Axel considers the question, the real question. Not why did you break the rules, but why did you need to know? I wanted to see how she felt at the edge, sir. How much clearance I really had. How the engine responded under stress. Whether the airframe would hold or flex. And she held, sir. Plenty of margin. More than the book says. Hayes's jaw works. The book says what it says for a reason, cadet. It's written in the blood of men who tested limits and found them. Your job is to learn from their deaths, not repeat them. Yes, sir. 30 days grounded, letter of reprimand in your file. One more stunt like this, and you wash out. Are we clear? Yes, sir. Hayes turns to leave. Stops. Doesn't look back. You're a good pilot, Lindgren, maybe even a great one. But great pilots who don't respect limits end up in metal boxes with flags on top. Remember that. Axel does remember. He remembers all the way to New Guinea, remembers it when 6 zeros close behind him and the book says run and his hands say stay. The question he doesn't ask Hayes because he already knows the answer. What if the limits in the book are wrong? September 1942. Port Moresby, New Guinea. The island smells like nowhere else on Earth. Aviation gasoline, 100 octane mixing with rotting kunai grass and diesel exhaust, and the sweet, sick smell of tropical vegetation decaying in 95-degree heat at 88% humidity. The air is thick enough to chew. Mosquitoes swarm in clouds. Malaria runs through the squadrons like a second enemy. 60% infection rate. Some men fight the Japanese. Everyone fights the fever. The 49th Fighter Group operates from an airstrip that's more concept than reality. 5,000 feet of pierced steel planking laid over mud that never fully dries. When it rains, and it does every afternoon like clockwork, turning the whole strip to soup planes taxi through standing water. Ground crews work barefoot because boots rot through in days. Axel climbs down from the C-47 transport that brought him from Australia. His gear weighs 60 pounds. Flight suit, Mae West parachute, personal kit. The heat hits like a physical thing. He's sweating before his boots touch mud. A Jeep pulls up. The driver is maybe 19, sunburned, thin, the look of someone who's been here long enough to stop being surprised by anything. You, Lindgren. That's me. Squadron's that way. Captain Keller will want to see you. We call him Dutch. Don't call him captain unless you want him annoyed. The tent that serves as squadron headquarters is identical to every other tent. Canvas stretched over a wooden frame. Mosquito netting that doesn't work. A desk made from B-25 packing crates. Maps on the walls curling in the humidity. The smell of mildew and coffee and men living too close together for too long. Dutch Keller is 28 and looks 40. Lean, hard, eyes that have seen things that don't leave. He glances up from paperwork when Axel enters. Doesn't stand, doesn't salute. This far from headquarters formality is a luxury no one can afford. Lindgren, Wisconsin, right? Yes, sir. Stop with the sir. It's Dutch. You know why you're here. 49th Fighter Group, P-38s, combat operations. That's the what? I asked why. Dutch leans back. The chair creaks. Your file says you're a good pilot with a discipline problem. Buzz the Golden Gate Bridge. Got written up twice for unauthorized low-level flight. Instructors think you're either going to be exceptional or dead. Yes, yes. Which one are you planning on? Axel meets his eyes. Exceptional. Dutch almost smiles. Almost. We'll see. You know what we do here? Escort bombers, intercept Japanese fighters, defend the airfield. That's the job description. Here's the reality. We fly over jungle that'll kill you faster than the enemy if you go down. We fight pilots who've been doing this since China. They're better trained, better experienced, and their planes turn tighter than ours. Our doctrine is simple: don't dogfight. Use speed and altitude. Boom and zoom. You run out of speed or altitude, you die. Questions. How many pilots have you lost this month? Dutch's expression doesn't change, but something shifts behind his eyes. 6, 3 in combat, 2 to weather, 1 to what we think was mechanical failure, but we never found enough wreckage to be sure. And last month, don't ask questions if you don't want answers, farm boy. The nickname lands, sticks. Axel will carry it until he proves it wrong or dies with it. Dutch stands. Your tent is number 7. You're bunking with Bones Maddox and Rook Calloway. Bones is our flight leader, former surgeon if you can believe it. Gave up cutting people to shoot them. Rook's 19 and thinks he's invincible. Try to keep him alive long enough to learn he's not. When do I fly? Tomorrow. Patrol, get your bearings. Learn the terrain, see if you can handle the heat without passing out. After that, we'll see if you're exceptional or just another name I have to write home about. Tent 7 smells like every military tent in every hot climate. Canvas and sweat and boot leather. 2 cots, a footlocker, a mosquito net that's more hole than net. Rain hammering the canvas in steady rhythm. Sawyer Maddox sits on 1 cot cleaning a .45 pistol. He's 32. Older than most fighter pilots. Hands that look too precise for violence. He glances up when Axel enters. You're the new guy, Lindgren. Call me Axel. I'm Bones. You can probably guess why. He gestures to the other cot. That's yours. Rook's out on patrol. Should be back in an hour unless the weather eats him. Axel drops his gear, sits. The cot protests but holds. Dutch says you were a surgeon. Was, am, depends on the day. Bones reassembles the pistol without looking. Muscle memory. Turns out I'm better at keeping men alive by killing the enemy than by cutting on them after they've already been shot. Strange career path, but here we are. Why'd you switch? Bones is quiet for a moment. The rain gets louder. Baton, I was medical corps. Did 3 surgeries a day with no anesthesia because we ran out in February. Watched good men die from infections because we didn't have antibiotics. Watched the Japanese execute the ones who couldn't walk during the march. Decided if I was going to be in this war, I wanted a gun instead of a scalpel. He looks at Axel, really looks. The way a surgeon looks at a patient, seeing past skin to the structure beneath. Dutch says you're talented but reckless. That true? I test limits. Limits exist for a reason. Out here, the limits are simple. Altitude, fuel, ammunition, and how tight your aircraft can turn before it kills you. Exceed any of those, and you're done. We cleared him. Clear. Good, because I like you already, and I don't want to write your mother a letter explaining that you died doing something stupid. The tent flap bursts open. A kid, because that's what he is, a kid stumbles in soaked. Rook Calloway, 19 years old, red hair plastered to his skull, grinning like he just won something. You're the new guy, heard you buzz the Golden Gate Bridge. That true? Axel glances at Bones, who shrugs. It's true, Axel says. That's outstanding. You gotta teach me that. Dutch never lets us have any fun. Dutch wants you to live long enough to vote, Bones says. Now get out of those wet clothes before you mildew. Rook strips down, still talking. We got jumped today. 3 zeros. Came out of nowhere. Dutch dove away, used speed. Textbook. I wanted to turn with them, see what happens, but Dutch yelled at me on the radio. You wanted to dogfight a 0, Axel says. Yeah, I mean, how bad can it be? They're just planes, right? Bones and Axel exchange a look. Listen, Rook, Bones says, and his voice has gone quiet. The surgeon voice, the one that delivers bad news. The 0 is lighter than us, turns tighter. If you try to dogfight, you'll die. It's not opinion, it's physics. But, you do what Dutch does. You boom and zoom, you live. You dogfight, you die. End of lesson. Rook deflates a little, nods. Yeah, okay, I get it. But Axel sees something in the kid's eyes. The same thing that got him grounded at Thunderbird Field. The need to know. The need to test. That night, lying on his cot, listening to monsoon rain and Bones' steady breathing and Rook's occasional sleep talk, Axel thinks about turn radius and wing loading and the gap between what the book says and what might actually be true. The P-38 is heavy, 780-foot turn radius at combat speed. The 0 is light, 492 feet, nearly 300 feet of difference. But what if you don't turn at combat speed? What if you slow down? What if you use differential throttle, one engine high and one low to create yaw? What if you add full rudder? What if you ride the edge of a stall without crossing it? The mass starts to shift. The radius tightens. Still not as tight as a zero, but closer. Maybe close enough, it's theory. Untested. Possibly deadly. But then so was cleaning a carburetor at 180 degrees instead of 150, and that saved a harvest. Axel closes his eyes. Tomorrow he'll fly his first combat patrol, learn the terrain, follow the doctrine, be a good wingman. And after that, when he's alone, when no one's watching, he'll start asking the questions that doctrine doesn't want asked. Because limits are what weak men accept and strong men test. His father taught him that. December 8, 1942. Euro 8, 15 hours, 12,000 feet above Leh. Axel's first combat mission. Escort duty. 12 B-25 Mitchell bombers heading north to hit Japanese supply dumps. 16 P-38s flying cover. Axel is tucked in tight on Dutch's wing. Following. Learning. Trying not to think about the fact that somewhere below in that endless green are men with guns and radios who are calling in fighters right now. The radio crackles. Dutch's voice calm. Bandits. 2 o'clock high. 4 contacts. Zeros. Axel's heart rate doubles. He forces his breathing steady. Scans the sky. There. 4 dark specks diving out of the sun. The oldest trick. Use the light to hide your approach until you're close enough that it doesn't matter. Dutch's flight engage. The flight leader calls. Everyone else stay on the bombers. Dutch breaks left. Axel follows. The P-38 responds clean. No hesitation. The Allison engines roar. 1,400 horses on each side pulling him up into the turn. The Zeros commit. They're expecting the Americans to run or to fight stupid. Most do one or the other. Dutch does neither. He climbs, uses altitude, gets above the diving Zeros, then rolls inverted and comes down behind them. Speed building. 400 miles per hour. Faster than a Zero can match. Pick your target, Dutch says on the radio. Fire and climb away. Don't chase. Axel selects the trailing Zero, puts the pipper on the fuselage. The range closes. 800 yards, 600, 400. At 300 yards, he squeezes the trigger. The P-38 shudders. 450 caliber machine guns and 120 millimeter cannon firing through a single point in the nose. Tracers arc out, bright lines connecting him to the target. The Zero's right wing comes apart. Not damage. Disintegration. The entire wingtip separates from the fuselage. The fighter snap rolls. The pilot bails. Parachute blossoms white against green jungle. Axel's first kill. He doesn't feel what he thought he'd feel. No triumph, no horror, just confirmation. The math was right. Lead the target. Fire at the right range. Physics does the rest. Dutch is already climbing. Axel follows. They regain altitude. Below, another P-38 is engaging the remaining Zeros. Fire trails through the sky. A Zero pulls up, smoking breaks off, heads north. That's 2, Dutch says. Good shooting. Now we climb and get back to the bombers. They do. The rest of the mission is uneventful. The B-25s hit their targets. Everyone comes home. That night at debrief, the intelligence officer marks 2 confirmed kills for Dutch's flight. 1 for Dutch, 1 for Axel. Back in the tent, Bones pours 4 fingers of whiskey into a tin cup. First one's the hardest. After that, it's just work. Didn't feel hard, Axel says. That's because you did it right. You used doctrine, speed and altitude. You didn't try to turn with him. You let the P-38 do what it does best. Bones hands him the cup. Here's to following the manual. Axel drinks. The whiskey burns. He thinks about the Zero's wing coming apart, about the pilot in the parachute, about the 300 feet of turn radius difference that makes dogfighting suicide. And he thinks, what if there's a way to close that gap? Not today, not next week, but someday, when he's ready, when he's tested the theory enough to know it won't kill him, because 2 kills following doctrine is good. But how many more could he get if he found a way to break it? The weeks turn into months. Axel flies, learns, survives. His kill count grows. 5, 8, 12. He makes ace by March. The squadron stops calling him farm boy, or at least stops saying it where he can hear. But he hasn't forgotten the question. And every time he flies alone, solo patrols, ferry missions, weather reconnaissance, he experiments. Throttle settings, left engine at 54 inches of manifold pressure. Right engine at 42, 12 inches of differential. The P-38 yaws left, Add full rudder. The nose swings hard. Airspeed drops. 280 miles per hour. 240, 210. The stall warning is a buffet through the controls. A shudder. The airframe protesting. Axel holds it there, right on the edge. Not past, just kissing the line where the air stops flowing smooth over the wings and starts to tear away in turbulent sheets. And the turn tightens. 600 feet. 550. 520. Not 492. Not yet, but closer. Close enough that the math starts to look different. He practices. 27 test flights. 14 successful hard turns. 8 near spins where he recovers hard hammering, sweat cold on his back. 5 overstressed airframes where he lands, and McCready, the crew chief, walks around the P-38 shaking his head. McCready is 50. Scottish. Built like a barrel with arms. Hands scarred from 30 years of working metal. He finds Axel after the 5th test flight after the wing root shows cracks that shouldn't be there. "What are you doing to her?" Axel doesn't lie. Testing. Testing what? How to break my airplane. How to make her turn tighter. McCready is quiet. Then, the manual says, "I know what the manual says." And I know what you're thinking, that the manual's wrong, that you can squeeze more out of her." McCready runs his hand along the wing root, feels the stress cracks. "Maybe you can. But aluminum only bends so far before it breaks. And when it breaks at 6,000 feet, you don't get a second chance." "Can you reinforce it?" "Can I? Sure, I can weld patches from B-17 wreckage, rivet in support struts, add 30 pounds, and maybe she'll hold." He looks at Axel. "But I need to know this isn't a death wish. I need to know you've got a reason. The reason is 6 zeros and no way to run. Then you die. Or I turn tighter than they think I can." McCready considers. The afternoon downpour begins. Tropical rain so heavy it sounds like static. "I'll reinforce her," he says finally. "But you listen to me, farm boy. Every hard turn ages this bird. Every time you pull that stunt, you're burning through her life. She's got maybe 4 hard turns in her before something critical fails. 4. You use them when it counts, not when you're curious." "Understood." "Good. Because I don't want to scrape you out of wreckage and write your mother that her boy died testing a theory." The reinforcements help. The next test flight, Axel pulls the hardest turn yet. 510 feet. Fuel 22 minutes remaining. Altitude 4,000 feet. Airspeed 198 miles per hour. Stall speed 185. 13 miles per hour of margin. The thinnest edge. One mistake. One gust of wind. One moment of inattention. And he'll spin. But he doesn't spin. The P-38 pivots, holds. The turn completes. He lands. Sits in the cockpit, hands shaking. Not from fear, from knowing. It works. The theory works. The P-38 can dogfight. Not easily, not safely, but it can. And somewhere in the back of his mind, a clock is ticking. Because sooner or later, someone's going to need this. Someone's going to be alone with 6 enemies and no altitude to trade and no speed left to run with. And when that happens, Axel will know what to do. Because his father taught him that limits are suggestions. And the manual said replace, but Gustav said fix. The question now is when. When does the theory become practice? When does the test become combat? January 15, 1943. 1640 hours. 4,000 feet. The answer is now. January 15, 1943. 1640 hours. 4,000 feet above the coastline. Low-level strafing run. Simple mission profile. Hit the supply depot. Get out fast. Don't linger where the Zeros patrol. Axel is flying a wing on Dutch. 2 P-38s skimming over jungle canopy at 200 feet. The air is thick, turbulent. Hot updrafts from the green below make the controls mushy. Every instinct says this is the wrong altitude for a fight. Too low, no room to dive, no energy to trade. They make their pass. 50 caliber rounds chew through wooden structures. Secondary explosions bloom orange and black. Mission accomplished. Time to leave. Dutch pulls up first. Banking right, heading for open water. Axel follows, throttles forward, beginning his climb. The Zero comes out of the sun. Classic bounce. The Japanese pilot timed it perfectly. Waited until the Americans were focused on the ground, vulnerable, slow. Dutch's voice on the radio. Urgent. Brake left, brake. Axel brakes, hard. The Zero overshoots. Dutch commits to Axel instead. Easier target. Slower climb. Less experienced pilot. The range closes. 800 yards. 600. Axel's training screams at him. Doctrine is clear. Dive away. Use speed. The P-38 is faster in level flight. Outrun the Zero, reset. Come back with altitude advantage. But he's at 4,000 feet. Already low, and the fuel gauge reads 22 minutes. He ran the numbers before takeoff. 22 minutes means he can run, but not far. The Zero's base is closer than his. If this turns into a chase into a fuel burn race back to friendly territory, the math doesn't favor him. Dutch is climbing, out of position. Won't be able to help for 30 seconds. Maybe 40. 30 seconds. In combat, that's 6 lifetimes. The Zero is 400 yards now. Axel can see the meatball insignia on the wings, can see the pilot's head in the canopy. Every instructor he ever had is screaming in his memory. Don't dogfight, don't turn with a Zero. Physics doesn't care about courage. It only cares about wing loading and turn radius and the laws that govern how machines move through air. But there's another voice, quieter, from a wheat field in Wisconsin. From his father's hands on a carburetor. The manual says replace. But what if we fix Axel pulls back on the yoke? Not gently, hard, full elevator. Left throttle to 54 inches, right throttle to 42, 12 inches of differential. Exactly what he practiced. Exactly what he tested 27 times when no one was shooting at him. Full left rudder, the P-38 yaws, nose swings, the world tilts, airspeed drops. 280 miles per hour, 240. The rate of descent is alarming. He's in a climbing turn but losing altitude because the angle of attack is so high, the drag so severe that the engines can't compensate. 210. The buffet starts. The stall warning, the airframe shaking like it's trying to come apart around him. The stick vibrates in his hands. Every rivet, every panel, every welded seam screaming protest. 200, 198, 13 miles per hour above stall speed. The Zero follows, confident. The Japanese pilot has done this 1,000 times. Watched American pilots try to turn, watch them bleed energy, watch them stall and spin and die. This is familiar. This is physics asserting itself. Except the P-38 doesn't stall. It pivots. The differential throttle creates asymmetric thrust. The rudder amplifies it. The whole aircraft rotates around its center of gravity like a compass needle finding north. Axel's vision tunnels. The G-forces press him into the seat. 5.2 Gs, blood draining from his head. Graying at the edges. He fights it, tenses his legs, grunts against the pressure. The Zero overshoots. Just for a second. Just enough. Axel snaps the stick right, rolls inverted, uses the energy from the roll to pull through. The nose comes around. The gun sight settles on the Zero's tail section. Range 300 yards. He squeezes the trigger. 2-second burst. 80 rounds of 50 caliber. 8 rounds of 20 millimeter. The Zero's fuselage erupts. Pieces fly off. The canopy shatters. Fire blooms from the engine cowling bright orange against blue sky. The fighter rolls left, inverted nose dropping. The pilot doesn't bail. Maybe he's already dead. Maybe the canopy is jammed. Maybe he's just too surprised to react. The Zero impacts jungle. A flash, a pillar of black smoke rising through the green. Axel rolls level. His hands are shaking. The adrenaline is crashing through him in waves. He checks his instruments. Fuel 20 minutes. Altitude 3,600 feet. He lost 400 feet in the turn. 400 feet for 1 kill. The math works. Barely. But it works. Dutch's P-38 pulls alongside. Close enough that Axel can see his face through the canopy glass. Dutch's expression is pure disbelief. The radio crackles. What the hell was that? Axel's throat is dry. His voice comes out rough. I'm not sure. You turned with him. You shouldn't have been able to turn with him. Yeah. You should have spun out, should have stalled, should have died. Yeah. Silence on the radio, just the engine noise. The familiar roar of 2 Allison V-1710s pulling him home. Finally, Dutch says, "We'll talk on the ground. Follow me. Stay close." And Lindgren, "Yeah, don't ever do that again." But they both know that's a lie, because now the question isn't whether the P-38 can dogfight. The question is when it will need to. The landing is normal. Gear down, flaps down, touchdown on pierced steel planking that's already starting to buckle from heat and weight and the passage of too many aircraft. Axel taxis to his revetment, kills the engines, sits in silence while the metal ticks and cools. McCready is there when he climbs down. The crew chief walks around the P-38, slow, methodical. His face says everything his mouth doesn't. Wing root, McCready says, points to a crack running 3 inches along the lower surface of the left wing. Here, and here. Another crack, starboard side this time. Panel fasteners sheared, 2 on port, 3 on starboard. He looks at Axel. You used one. One what? One of your 4 hard turns? The ones I told you to save for when it counts. It counted. Did it, or were you testing? Axel meets his eyes. Both. McCready shakes his head. You're going to get yourself killed, farm boy. Or worse, you're going to get someone else killed trying to copy you. He pulls a grease pencil from his pocket, marks the cracks. I'll fix her. Again, but you're down to 3 turns. 3. Make them count. Debriefing is held in the ops tent. Tent, same humidity, same maps curling on the walls. Dutch is already there. Bones, Rook, the intelligence officer, a lieutenant whose name Axel can never remember, but whose job is to write down everything and turn it into reports that go to people who've never been shot at. Strafing runs successful, Dutch says, flat, professional. Secondary explosions observed. 1-0 engaged and destroyed. Lindgren's kill. The intelligence officer writes, method of engagement. Dutch hesitates, just for a second, then turning fight, close range. The pencil stops. The intelligence officer looks up. Turning fight against a 0. Yes, that's not doctrine. No, Dutch says, it's not. Can you describe the engagement in detail? Dutch looks at Axel, nods. Your story. You tell it. Axel stands. His legs still feel weak. He walks to the map, points to the coastline. We completed the strafing run here. Began climb to the south. 0 bounced us from high sun. I was at 4,000 feet. Low altitude, low speed, no room to dive. Why didn't you use your speed advantage? Fuel, 22 minutes. If I ran, the Zero's base was closer. I'd be running into their territory. Math didn't favor it. So you turned with him? Yes. How? The question, the one he's been expecting, the one he doesn't have a manual answer for because the manual doesn't know it's possible. Differential throttle, Axel says. Left engine high, right engine low, creates yaw. Add full rudder, ride the edge of the stall without crossing it. The turn radius decreases. Silence in the tent. Everyone's looking at him now. Not just looking, studying, like he's a specimen. Something strange that needs classifying. Bone speaks first. You should have spun. Came close. How close? 13 miles per hour above stall speed. More silence. Then Rook excited. Can you teach me that? No, Dutch says, sharp. Absolutely not. What Lindgren did was dangerous, probably suicidal, and only worked because he's either very skilled or very lucky. We don't build tactics around luck. But it worked, Rook insists. This time. Next time he spins into the jungle and we write his mother a letter. Dutch looks at Axel. You got lucky, farm boy. Don't mistake luck for skill. Axel doesn't argue, doesn't explain about the 27 test flights or the reinforced wing routes or the math that says it's not luck, it's calculated risk. Because arguing won't change Dutch's mind. Only results will. The debriefing ends. The intelligence officer files his report. 1-0 destroyed, unconventional tactics. Recommend further evaluation. That night, Axel lies on his cot and runs the fight through his mind. Frame by frame. What worked? What almost failed? The moment the 0 overshot. The moment the gun sight settled. The feeling of the controls buffeting against his hands. It worked. But McCready's right. He's down to 3 hard turns, 3 chances, 3 moments where he can bend physics and hope it doesn't break him. He needs to make them count. February through August 1943, 5 months. Axel's kill count climbs steadily through routine boom and zoom engagements. By late summer, he's at 25 confirmed. His name appears in dispatches. Letters from home mention that people in Superior are proud. The farm boy from Wisconsin shooting down enemy planes. But the real work happens between missions. Solo patrols, weather, reconnaissance. When no one is watching and he can refine without consequences. He learns that 48 degrees of manifold pressure differential is too much. The torque is too violent. 60 degrees of rudder deflection isn't enough. 90 degrees is optimal but stresses the vertical stabilizer. The sweet spot 195 to 210 miles per hour. McCready reinforces the airframes, uses aluminum salvaged from crashed B-17s. Rivets support struts into the wing roots. The modifications are quiet, unofficial, just a crew chief helping his pilot survive. Rabaul Air Base, Japanese 11th Air Fleet, September 1943. Warrant Officer Saburo Tanaka stands before the operations map. 26 years old, veteran of China-Philippines Java, 18 confirmed P-38 kills in 3 months. The Americans call him Oni, Demon. His commanding officer briefs the morning mission. Intelligence reports increased American activity near Wewak. They're planning something large. We need to disrupt their bomber formations. Tanaka studies the map. He's learned American doctrine. They won't dogfight. They'll use speed and altitude. Predictable, exploitable. But recently, something has changed. 2 of his pilots reported unusual P-38 behavior, tighter turns than normal. One claimed an American fighter turned inside his zero, impossible. Obviously pilot error or confusion in combat. Still, Tanaka makes a note. If this anomaly appears again, he'll investigate personally. His zero sits on the flight line. Nakajima Sake engine, 1130 horsepower. Light, maneuverable, deadly in the hands of someone who knows how to use it. Red lightning bolt painted on the tail. His personal marking. The Americans have learned to recognize it. Some run, some fight, all die eventually. Or they did, until recently. Tanaka climbs into the cockpit, runs his pre-flight. The engine catches smooth. He taxis out, joins his 3-plane show tie. They take off into morning sun. Somewhere to the south, American bombers are forming up. And somewhere among their escorts is the pilot who might be doing the impossible. Tanaka wants to meet him. September 7 to 10, 1943. Port Moresby. 3 P-38s fail to return from missions. Daniels, Cooper, Martinez, all experienced pilots, all lost in the same operational area, all last seen engaging a zero with a red lightning bolt marking. The morning briefing is somber. Colonel Hadley stands at the map, 38 years old, combat veteran from Europe, flew P-40s at Kasserine Pass, transferred to the Pacific 6 months ago. Warrant Officer Saburo Tanaka, Hadley says, pins a reconnaissance photo to the map, blurry image of a zero with distinctive tail markings. The Japanese call him Oni. We call him a problem. 18 confirmed kills against P-38s. He's studied our tactics, knows we won't dogfight, uses that knowledge. Dutch raises his hand. How? He baits us, gets us to chase, forces us low where we can't use speed, then turns inside our escape attempts. He's patient, skilled, very dangerous. Bust Bones asks, why P-38 specifically? Why not go after bombers? Because killing fighters means the bombers are undefended next time. He's playing the long game. Hadley's expression is grim. New standing order, do not engage Oni alone. Do not dogfight. If you see the red lightning bolt, call for backup and disengage. These are direct orders. After the briefing, Dutch pulls Axel aside. They stand under the tent's overhang. Rain pouring off the canvas edge. I know what you're thinking, Dutch says. What am I thinking? That your turning trick could beat him, that you could take Oni in a dogfight. Axel doesn't deny it. Dutch steps closer. Listen to me. That trick of yours, it worked once against a pilot who wasn't expecting it. Oni is expecting everything. He's been killing P-38 pilots for 3 months. He knows every move we've got. He doesn't know this move. No one does. And you want to be the one to show him? You want to bet your life that you can outturn a zero pilot with more combat experience than you, me, and Bones combined. I want to stop losing squadron mates. Dutch's jaw tightens. So do I, but not by trading your life for his. You're too valuable. 25 kills. You're training new pilots. You're keeping people at ease. Don't throw that away on a grudge match. It's not a grudge. It's math. He exploits our doctrine. I can break doctrine. That's the counter. Or it's suicide dressed up as tactics. Dutch puts a hand on Axel's shoulder. I'm asking you, friend to friend. Don't go looking for him. Don't make this personal. Axel nods. Doesn't promise. Can't promise. September 11th, 1943. Evening, final briefing. Big one tomorrow, Hadley says. Taps the map. Wewak Airfield, 12 B-25s, 16 P-38 escorts. We hit their runway, their revetments, their fuel dumps, maximum damage. Expect heavy resistance. Intelligence estimates 15 to 20 zeros. He looks around the tent, at faces too young and too old at once. Stay in pairs, stay disciplined, use your altitude, use your speed. Do not, and I cannot stress this enough, do not dogfight. Questions. Silence. Good. Take off at 0800, get some sleep, Dismissed. Outside, Bones lights a cigarette, offers one to Axel. Axel doesn't smoke, but takes it anyway. You're planning something, Bones says. No. Don't lie to a surgeon. We're trained to spot tells. You're running scenarios. Axel draws on the cigarette, coughs. If someone gets in trouble tomorrow, if someone's alone with multiple bandits, don't, Bones interrupts. Don't finish that sentence because if you do, I'll have to report you. I'm just saying, I know what you're saying, and I'm telling you, don't be a hero. Heroes get buried with flags. Smart pilots get old. Bones stubs out his cigarette. 25 kills, Axel. You've done enough. Let someone else take the risks. And if someone else dies because I didn't, Bones doesn't have an answer. They stand in silence. Rain drumming on canvas. Generators coughing in the darkness. The camp settling into uneasy quiet. Tomorrow, 12 bombers will hit Wewak. 16 fighters will escort. 20 Zeros will scramble. And somewhere in that case, the math will matter. September 12, 1943. 07:30 hours. Mission briefing. Hadley goes through it again. Route, targets, expected opposition, the mathematics of war. Distance to target 240 miles. Cruise speed 180 miles per hour. Time to target 80 minutes outbound. That gives you approximately 75 minutes over the target area before fuel becomes critical. He assigns positions. Dutch leads second flight. Axel is his wingman. Bones leads third. Rook flies with fourth. Weather scattered thunderstorms. Ceiling 8,000 feet. Watch for buildups. They hide squadrons. Axel checks his gear. Mae West, parachute, pistol, survival knife. The things that might matter if everything goes wrong. McCready finds him outside. She's ready, points to the P-38. Topped off, full ammo. I reinforced the wing routes again last night. Best I can do. How many turns left? McCready's face darkens. Don't ask questions you don't want answered. Just be smart. Come home. Be hours. Engines start down the line. 32 Allisons roaring to life. The sound is physical. Makes the chest vibrate. Axel runs his checklist. Fuel 410 gallons. Magnetos check. Flaps set. Trim neutral. The tower clears them. Dutch leads. They roll down pierced steel. Tails up. Mains lift. Climbing into the humid air. Formation assembly over the coast. 12 B-25s join from the south. The package orbits twice, then turns north. Heading 350 degrees. Altitude 10,000 feet. The jungle slides beneath. Green without end. Rivers like silver threads. No roads, no towns, just vegetation that kills as efficiently as bullets. 60 miles out, the clouds build, towering cumulus. The kind that hides things. 40 miles, Bones calls weather ahead. 20 miles, Japanese radio chatter. Frantic, they know the Americans are coming. 10 miles, Dutch's voice, tighten up, stay alert. And then the zeros appear. Not 5, not 10, 20, rising from clouds like sharks from depth. Wings catching sun, red circles on fuselages like drops of blood. The radio explodes. Bandits, multiple bandits. Hadley's voice cuts through. All flights engage. Stay in pairs, protect the bombers. The formation dissolves. 16 P-38s breaking, 12 B-25s tightening up. Somewhere in that chaos is 1-0 with a red lightning bolt. Oni is here. September 12, 1943, 14:21 hours. 10,000 feet above Wewak. The sky tears itself apart. 20 Zeros attack in coordinated sections. 3 planes show tie formations. Some fix escorts high. Others dive on bombers. The rest wait watching for mistakes. This isn't chaos. This is choreography. The Japanese pilots know American doctrine. No P-38s boom and zoom. They're ready. Dutch breaks left. Axel follows. 2 Zeros make a pass. Fire. Miss. Dutch climbs, regaining altitude. Textbook. Below B-25s take hits. Tracers arc. One Mitchell trails smoke. Another's left engine burns. But they hold formation. Drop bombs. Secondary explosions bloom across Wewak. Fuel dumps ignite. Black smoke pillars upward. Mission accomplished. Now survive extraction. Axel checks fuel. 305 gallons. 47 minutes remaining. Ammunition 1,200 rounds, 50 caliber, 60 rounds, 20 millimeter. Full load. He hasn't fired yet. Dutch's voice, stay tight, climbing to 15,000. They climb 12,000, 13. That's when Axel sees them. 4 o'clock low, 6,000 feet below. Two P-38s chased by 6 Zeros. The Americans are diving, trying to extend, but they're already low, already slow. The geometry is wrong. Axel recognizes tail numbers. Rook Calloway. Wilson replacement pilot. Kid from Nebraska. 20 years old. 3 missions. The Zeros are hurting them. Not shooting. Pressing. Forcing them lower. Into jungle layer where there's no room to maneuver. Axel keys his mic. Dutch, 4 o'clock low, 2 of ours in trouble. I see them. Stay with me. We're out of position. But Axel is calculating. The 2 P-38s are 8 miles away, descending. In 30 seconds, too low to help. In 60 dead. Dutch is climbing, following Doctrine, getting altitude to re-engage safely. Doctrine is about to kill Rook and Wilson. Axel makes Gustav's decision. The manual says one thing. Reality requires another. He breaks formation, rolls inverted, pulls through, diving, airspeed builds, 300, 350, 400. The P-38 shudders, controls stiffen. She holds. Dutch's voice sharp, Lindgren. What are you doing? They'll die. Get back in formation. That's an order. Axel cuts his radio. All attention on geometry unfolding below. 6 Zeros, 2 P-38s. Now one more diving at 420 miles per hour. Simple math. 6 against 1. But surprise is worth 2 aircraft. Maybe 3. Makes it 4 against 1. Still bad, but better than 6 against 2. He closes. 2,000 yards. 1,500. The Zeros spot him. 4 break off turning defensive. 2 continue chasing Rook and Wilson. Good. 4 is manageable. The Zeros execute perfect defensive split. 2 climb, 2 dive. Classic scissors. Forces Axel to choose. Whichever pair he follows, the other gets his tail. Doctrine says, don't commit. Extend. Reset. But extending means 2 Zeros continue after Rook. Means 2 dead squadron mates. Another letter home. Axel pulls up after the climbing pair. Airspeed drops. 400, 350, 300. The Zeros climb faster. They'll get above him. Get position. Get the kill. Unless he pulls harder. Maximum performance. Left throttle 54 inches. Right 42. 12 inches differential. Full left rudder. Buffeting immediate. Airframe protesting. Aluminum flexing. Rivets straining. McCready's voice in memory. Maybe 4 hard turns left. Maybe the next one. This is number 1. The P-38 doesn't stall. It pivots. Nose swings left. Turn radius collapses. 780 becomes 600. 550. 520. 510. Not as tight as a 0, but tighter than any 0 pilot has seen a P-38 turn. The 2 climbing Zeros overshoot. Just a heartbeat. They expected stall, expected the American to fall. Instead, Axel is inside their turn. Nose pointed at trailing 0. Range 400 yards. He fires. 2-second burst. 80 rounds 50 caliber. 8 rounds 20 millimeter. Concentration through single point. The Zero's canopy disintegrates. Pilot's head snaps back. Fuel tank ruptures. Fire blooms. The 0 rolls. Falls. Kill 26. No time to watch. Second 0 reversing. Hard. Pilot adapting fast. Below 2 diving Zeros climbing back. Behind them 2 still chasing Rook. 6 Zeros, now 5. 44 minutes fuel. 1,120 rounds. He's proven P-38 can do the impossible. Now comes the hard part. 14-24 hours. Fuel 44 minutes. 4 remaining Zeros regroup. Not panicking. Veterans, they've seen unusual tactics. Survived them. They're adjusting their model of what P-38s can do. Axel has 10 seconds before they coordinate new attack. 10 seconds to decide extend away, save himself, leave Rook to fate. Or commit. Use second hard turn, maybe third. He looks down. 2 P-38s at 4,000 feet. Still pursued. Rook trying to turn with them. Stupid. Suicidal. Axel dives. 45 degrees. Airspeed building. 4 Zeros follow. Committing. On all in. Better to kill this strange American now than let him escape. 3,000 yards. 2,000. Axel's thumb hovers. Not yet. 1,500. The 2 Zeros chasing Rook break off. Heard wingman calling. Turn to help. Now all 6 focused on Axel. 6 on 1. Again. Same math as beginning. Except now they're ready for his trick. Surprise gone. But Axel has 27 test flights. Has McCready's reinforcements. Has Gustav's voice. 1,000 yards. Zeros spread out. Textbook. Bracket him. Tack multiple angles. Overwhelm defense. Axle pulls. Hard. Harder than before. G-forces slam him into seat. Vision grays. He grunts. Tenses legs. Forces blood to brain. Left throttle 54. Right 42. Full rudder. P-38 pivots. World spins. Sky jungle. Blue-green. 5.4 Gs. Above tested limit. Vision tunnels to pinpoint. Controls shaking. Hands numb. Turn holds. 5-10 feet. Inside zeros is circle. This is hard turn number 2. 2 zeros flash past. Committed too early. Expected gentle turn. Expected textbook American. Axle snaps stick right. Rolls 90 degrees. Uses roll to reverse. Nose comes around. Third zero directly ahead. 200 yards. Fire. 3-second burst. 120 rounds. 12 cannon. Zero's wing root separates, not tears. Separates. Entire right wing departs fuselage. Fighter spins. Centrifugal force tears it apart. Pieces scatter. 27 kills. Remaining 4 zeros confused. Confusion is good. Hesitation means survival. But not long. Professionals adapt. 2 climbing, getting altitude. Re-establishing dominance. 2 diving, creating separation. Preparing coordinated attack. Axle checks instruments. Fuel 41 minutes. Ammo 1,000. 44 cannon. Altitude 5,000. And the airframe. He can feel it. Vibration different. Something in left wing root. Stress riser. Metal bent too far too often. McCready's warning, one day she'll just let go. Not today, he needs her few more minutes. Below Rook and Wilson clear. Climbing. Heading south. Alive. Above 4 zeros repositioning. One has distinctive markings. Red lightning bolt on white. Oni has entered the fight. 14:26 hours. Fuel 40 minutes. Saburo Tanaka is 26. Learned to fly Manchuria. First kill Shanghai, 1937. 6 years of war. 18 P-38s destroyed. Every tactic documented. He's never seen a P-38 turn like this. His radio crackles Japanese. Confusion. Respect. Recognition that rules changed. Tanaka climbs to 8,000. Surveys situation. 3 wingmen remain. American at 5,000. Damaged probably. Low fuel definitely. Outnumbered. But dangerous. Very dangerous. He keys radio. Gives orders. Wingmen acknowledge. Spread out. Create net. An American can run south back to base. Or stay and fight. Tanaka bets he stays. Americans who break doctrine like this don't run. They finish. Axel sees trap forming. Elegant. Professional. 4 zeros, different altitudes, different aspects. Whichever direction he turns to, have shots. Whichever way he runs, they chase. His fuel won't outlast theirs. 3 options. 1 run, so use speed, extend before zeros catch. Survival probability 60%, but means abandoning B-25s still extracting. Means other P-38s deal with these zeros later. 2 climb, meet at altitude, boom and zoom, traditional, survival 40%. But altitude advantage gone, they're higher, faster climb rate, fighting uphill. 3, the thing that shouldn't work. Work twice today. Will either kill him or kill them. Turn tighter than physics allows. Axel chooses 3, pulls back, not vertical, 70 degrees, climbing spiral. Left 54, right 42. Full rudder, buffeting immediate, worse than before. Airframe tired, metal stressed twice today. 27 times practice. Thousands normal flight. Aluminum has memory, remembers every bend, every flex, every edge. Turn radius collapses. 510, 500. 495, turning tighter than zero now. Tighter than enemy that dominated Pacific 2 years. Tighter than manual says possible. This is hard turn number 3. Vibration in left wing intensifies. Something wrong. Critical. But turn holding. Nose coming around. 1-0 dives in. Fires. Tracers arc past canopy. Close. Miss is miss. Proximity doesn't kill. Axle completes spiral. Levels. Above 3 zeros. Somehow. Impossibly. Geometry inverted. Trap become opportunity. Rolls inverted. Pulls through. Nose drops. Gun sight settles on 0. Dark green with yellow trim. Range 500 yards. Fire. 4-second burst. 160 rounds. 16 cannon. Zero's engine explodes. Coolant spray. Oil mist. Fire. Pilot bails. Parachute white against green. 28 kills. 3 zeros remain. 1 is Oni. 14:28 hours. Fuel 38 minutes. Tanaka sees wingman bail. Sees parachute. Sees impossible American climbing again. 6 years combat. Fought Chinese. British, Americans. Seen every tactic, every trick, every desperate maneuver pilots try when out of options. This is none of those. This is something new. P-38 shouldn't turn like that. Wing loading wrong. Power to weight wrong. Physics wrong. But physics doesn't care what should happen. Only what does, Tanaka decides. Been hunting this pilot. This farm boy intercepts mentioned. Who breaks rules. Tests limits. Time to test his own. He dives. Full throttle, 0 drops like stone. Speed building. Nakajima screams, 300, 350, 360. Past red line. Past safety. Airframe shutters. Controls stiff. Range to P-38 800, 600, 400. Tanaka fires. Long burst. 3 seconds. 20mm cannon 500 rounds per minute. 60 rounds airborne. Each capable of tearing apart engine wing pilot. 30 miss. 20 miss. 10 miss. 1 finds home. P-38's left engine. Graze. But at 360 graze is enough. Cowling tears. Oil sprays. Engine RPM drops. 1200, 900, 600. Fire warning. Red. Insistent. Axle slaps suppression. Halon floods nacelle. Fire dies. Engine done. Windmilling. Dead weight. Feathers prop. Reduces drag. P-38 designed to fly one engine. But not fight. Not turn. Symmetric thrust makes everything harder. Slower. More dangerous. Fuel 36 minutes. Both engines. One engine changes consumption. Recalculates. Right engine works harder, burns richer. 28 minutes. Maybe. Distance base 45 miles. Speed one engine 180. And time required 15 minutes. Math works. Barely. But first, survive next 2 minutes. 14, 29 hours. Fuel 28 minutes. One engine. 3 zeros smell blood. Wounded prey. Close in. Axle's right hand cramped on throttle. Single engine full power. 54 inches. Oil temp climbing red. Can't sustain. Engine will overheat. Seize. Then gliding. Zeros won't let him glide. They'll finish first. Dutch's voice cuts through. Axel forgot he cut radio. Toggles back. Degren, Axel respond. I'm here. Voice rough. Breathing hard. G-forces. Adrenaline. Fear. Status, left engine out. 3 bandits engaging. Need help. On my way. 30 seconds. Hold on. 30 seconds. Forever. Zero's attack sequence. First dives. Axel turns into him. Not hard. Can't hard turn one engine. Asymmetric thrust will spin. Just enough spoil shot. Tracers pass. Zero pulls up. Climbs. Second attacks opposite side. Clever. Forces reversal. Axel does. P-38 sluggish. Heavy. Controls mushy without left engine balancing. More tracers. One hits left boom. Punches through aluminum. Exits top. Structural damage not critical. Third zero hangs back. Watching. Learning. Red lightning bolt. Oni not rushing. Patient. Letting wingman wear down wounded American. Letting engine overheat. Letting fuel burn. Smart. Professional. Deadly. 15 seconds. First zero attacks again. Axel turns. Slow. Too slow. Zero stays behind. In cone. Kill zone. Tracers walk up right boom. Hammer vertical stabilizer. Shred rudder. Punch elevator. Control surface is failing. P-38 yaws. Axel fights it. Left rudder pedal. Useless. Rudder gone. Uses ailerons compensate. Rolling create yaw. Works. Barely. 10 seconds. Second zero comes head on. Range collapsing. 500 yards. 300. Both fire. Axel's rounds miss. Zeros don't. Stitch across canopy. Bulletproof glass cracks. Spiderweb fractures. One round punches through. Passes 6 inches from Axel's head. Exits canopy roof. Wind roar immediate. Deafening. Cold air 10,000 feet screams through cockpit. 5 seconds. Oni makes move. Dives from above. Perfect angle. Perfect deflection. Axel can't turn. Can't run. Can only watch zero grow in mirrors. Range 200. 150. Dutch appears, screaming from sun, 400 mapa, guns blazing, long burst, 200 rounds, 20 cannon. Second 01 that made head-on explodes. Mid-air, complete disintegration. 1 second exists, next debris. Oni breaks off, pulls up, hard. Outnumbered now, 1 against 2. Bad odds even for him. Climbs, fast, straight up. Uses Zero's superior power to wait. Gets altitude, distance, then rolls. Inverted. Looks down at 2 P-38s, 1 damaged, 1 fresh. Moment stops. Axel looks up through shattered canopy. Sees Zero, sees pilot silhouette. Tanaka looks down, sees American. Farm boy who turns like no P-38 should. Respect, mutual. Across gap of war and language and flags. Then Tanaka rolls upright, turns east, disappears into clouds. 14 and 32 hours, fuel 26 minutes. Can you fly? Dutch asks. P-38 tight on Axel's wing. Close enough to see damage. Yeah, rudder gone, left engine dead, canopy shot, but I can fly. Make it home, math. 40 miles, 180 MP. 13 minutes flight, 26 minutes fuel. Margin tight, but yeah. Then let's go. Before more show up, they turn south, leave battle behind. Below B-25's already 10 miles out. Mission accomplished. Wewak burning. 3 fuel dumps destroyed. 2 revetments collapsed. Cost 2 B-25s damaged. 1 P-38 shot up, everyone alive. Everyone going home. Rook's voice on radio, young, shaking. Axel, you saved us. Me and Wilson. We were dead. You're not dead. That's what matters. But you, 6 of them, you shouldn't have been able. Don't try copy it, Rook, not until you understand why it works. Silence, then, will you teach us, all of us? Axel looks at Dutch. Dutch looks back, nods slowly. Yeah, Axel says, I'll teach you. Flight back takes 14 minutes, everyone tense. Right engine temp climbs, oil pressure drops. Fuel gauge ticks down, 20, 15, is 10. Coastline appears. Then airstrip, home. Axel enters pattern. 1 engine, no rudder, cracked canopy, uses aileron and throttle control yaw, lines up final, approach sloppy. Not dangerous, just sloppy. Gear down, flaps down, P-38 descends, crosses threshold, touches hard, right main first, then left, nose wheel slams, brakes. P-38 pulls left, no rudder correct, uses right brake, differential braking. Same principle, differential throttle. Asymmetry, creating control. Fighter slows, stops. Right engine coughs, dies. Fuel exhaustion. Gauge reads 2 minutes remaining. 2 minutes from gliding into jungle. McCready running across strip before prop stops. Reaches P-38. Stares. Face goes through emotions. Anger. Resignation. Exhaustion. You used all of them, he says. All what? All your hard turns. Look at her. Axel climbs down, walks around, sees what McCready sees. Left wing root cracked. Not surface. Structural. Crack runs 6 inches along main spar. 2 more hard turns and wing would separate. Torn off mid-flight, right wing better, but not much. Stress wrinkles, fasteners sheared, panel deformation, left boom shot to pieces, 20mm holes. Hydraulic fluid leaking, right boom lost entire rudder. Just stub remains, canopy shattered, wind blasted. 1 round hole where bullet passed. She's done, McCready says. I can patch holes, weld cracks, but she'll never hard turn again. You bent her as far as she'll go. Axel touches wing, metal still warm from flight, from friction, from heat of being pushed past every limit. She got me home, he says quietly. That's enough. McCready nods. Aye, she did. Now let's not waste it. Debriefing takes 2 hours. Hadley there, Dutch, Bones, intelligence officer, half squadron crowds in. Axel describes it. Dive save Rook and Wilson. Engagement 6 zeros, turns, kills, damage, escape. Silence when he finishes. Then Hadley speaks. You disobeyed direct orders. Broke formation. Engaged 6 enemy alone. Yes, sir. Risked your life and valuable aircraft on maneuver not in any manual. Yes, sir. And destroyed 4 enemy fighters. Saved 2 squadron mates. Survived. Yes, sir. Hadley stands, walks to map, stares long moment. What you did was either bravest or stupidest thing I've seen. Haven't decided which. He turns. But it worked. Against every expectation, every tactical principle, it worked. Looks around tent. At pilots, young and old, scared and confident, alive because doctrine kept them that way. Lindgren discovered something. Technique allowing P-38 to compete turning fights. Dangerous, difficult, requires skill we can't train in a week. Pauses, but also a chance, way to survive when doctrine fails. When you're alone and outnumbered and out of options. Points at Axel. You're going to teach this, properly, safely, no cowboy stunts, no testing on new pilots. We do this right or not at all, understood? Yes, sir? Good, because if this spreads, if other squadrons learn, we might actually start winning instead of just surviving. Teaching begins next day. Classroom, 12 pilots, Axel at front with chalkboard. Drawing diagrams, explaining throttle settings, rudder angles, airspeed ranges. Sweet spot 195 to 210 mph. Below that stall, above turn radius increases. Need to feel it. Buffet, vibration. Your body tells when you're at edge. Pilot raises hand. Lieutenant Howell, 23. 3 kills. What about G-forces? 5.5 max. More and you black out before turn completes. Need to grunt, tense legs, force blood to brain. How many times before airframe fails? Axel glances McCready standing back. Depends on aircraft, maintenance, how hard you pull. Figure 4 to 6 hard turns per airframe. After you're gambling. Another hand. What if we screw up recovery? If you stall 2 seconds before spin becomes unrecoverable. Stick forward, opposite rudder, full throttle both them engines. Need 1,000 feet minimum, lest you die. Silence. Reality settling. Not magic trick. Trading one death for different, slightly less certain death. But also chance. Chances keep pilots alive. Practical training, 3 days. 6 pilots volunteer. Axel flies with each. Demonstrates. Talks through. Dutch first, cautious, methodical. Pulls turn, 205 mph. Radius 540 feet. Not tight as Axel's, but tighter than doctrine allows. Feels wrong, Dutch says after landing. Every instinct says I should have stalled. That's training, teaches you fear stall. But if you understand it, manage it can work right at edge. Bones next, surgeon's precision shows. Measures everything. Airspeed, G-load, turn radius. His turn 530 feet. Clean, controlled. Can see medical applications, Bones says dryly. If we're trying to give squadron mates heart attacks. Rook eager, too eager, pulls too hard, too fast. Airspeed drops 180. Stall comes instant. P-38 snaps left. Inverted, spinning. Axel's voice calm. Stick forward, opposite rudder, full throttle. Rook does, spin stops. Nose drops. P-38 accelerates, pulls out 800 feet. Landing rook white, shaking. I almost died. Yeah, now you know what edge feels like. Next time stay right side. Lieutenant Howell last. Good. Natural feel. First attempt 520 feet. Almost tight as Axel's. Can I try again? Push more. No, you've got technique. Don't get greedy. But Howell wants impress. 2 days later, solo flight tries again. Alone 800 feet. Stalls, spins, recovers 200, crashes into trees. P-38 disintegrates. Howell dies instantly. Funeral sunset. No casket. Never found enough. Just personal effects. Dog tags on makeshift cross. Axel stands attention. Listening chaplain. Listening rifle salute. Listening silence after. Finds Howell's diary and wreckage. McCready retrieved. Gave him. Last entry. Erickson showed limits negotiable. Want be like him. Want push further. Want matter. Axel reads. Reads again. Hands shake. Dutch finds him that night. Sitting outside tent. Staring nothing. Not your fault, Dutch says. I taught him. Showed technique. He died trying use it. He died trying show off. That's on him, not you. Is it what's difference between testing limits and showing off? How do I know I'm not just showing off every time I pull that turn? Dutch sits. Rain starts. You know difference. You test when matters. When lives depend. Howell tested when didn't. When just wanted feel special. Pauses. You gave us tool. What we do with it, that's on us. Then why feel like I killed him? Because you care, because you understand every choice has weight. That's what makes you different from him. He thought limits were challenges. You know they're warnings. September, November 1943. Technique spreads. Not officially. No manual update. Just word of mouth. Pilots talking, sharing notes. 8 pilots used in combat, 11 kills, 0 losses. Success rate undeniable. But 2 more die training. 1 475th Fighter Group, 1 by an 8th. Both same mistake. Too low. Stalling, spinning, dying. Nickname changes. Becomes Lindgren turn. Formal, recognized, documented unofficial squadron notes. Axel's count reaches 30, then 35. Rotated training duty, teaching new pilots. Not the turn, just basic combat. But everyone knows, everyone asks. By December, P-38 loss rates dropped. Not dramatically, 4%. But 4% is 30 pilots. 30 men go home instead, jungle graves. Statistics bloodless. But Axel knows names, faces. Knows somewhere 30 mothers don't get letters. 30 families stay whole. And knows 2 families do get letters. Because of him. Because he taught something that killed when used wrong. Weight never leaves. December 15th, 1943. Intelligence brief, Japanese radio intercept. Broadcast English. To one who bends metal. To farm boy who turns. I am Oni. Meet me over Wewak. December 18th, noon. Alone. Let us finish what we started. Tense silent. Everyone looks Axel. Colonel Hadley speaks first. This is trap, obviously. You're not going. He's challenging me personally. So let him challenge. We don't dance when enemy calls tune. He'll keep hunting us, keep killing squadron mates. If I face him, maybe he stops. Maybe others live. Or maybe you die and he keeps hunting anyway. You're too valuable, Lindgren. 35 kills, training pilots, saving lives. Won't risk that on duel. Dutch steps forward. What if he's not alone? What if I shadow high cover? He goes in, I stay back. If trap, I intervene. Hadley considers. Still against better judgment. I'm going either way, Axel says quietly, with permission or without. Hadley's jaw tightens, recognizes tone. Same as when Axel broke formation, save Rook and Wilson. Fine, but Dutch goes, and you follow protocol. First sign trap, both disengage. Clear, clear. That night, Axel writes letter. To mother, to Gustav, explaining everything. Technique, teaching, Gus, wait, seals it, gives Dutch. Only if I don't come back. You're coming back, Dutch says. Probably, but if. December 18th arrives cold and clear. December 18th, 1943, 11:45 hours. Axel climbs fresh P-38. Serial 42-68201. McCready spent 2 days preparing. Perfect tune, perfect balance. Every system checked twice. She'll hold, McCready says, but only maybe 4 hard turns. Same as before. Use when counts. It counts. Dutch already airborne. Climbing 15,000, high cover. Observer. Insurance. Axel starts engines, runs checklist, taxis, familiar routine. Same procedure 300 times. Except this time flying to meet man who wants kill him. One-on-ones. No mission. No bombers protect. Just 2 pilots and question who's better. Takes off. Climbs. Turns north. Wewak 40 miles. 200 mph, 12 minutes. Uses time think. About Gustav. Carburetor. Limits and suggestions and gap between book says and what's true. About 2 pilots died trying learn technique. Howell's diary. Weight of teaching something kills. 11:57 reaches Wewak. 10,000 feet. Clear sky. Empty. Then noon exactly 0 rises from below. Clean. No drop tanks. No bombs. Just fighter and pilot. Red lightning bolt on tail. Oni. They circle. 1,000 yards apart. Watching. Neither attacking. Not yet. Tanaka's voice breaks silence. Accented English. You are one who turns. I am. You saved your friends. Brave. Foolish, but brave. You've killed many of mine. War kills. We are instruments. Pause. But today, not war. Today answer to question. Your machine against mine. Your skill against mine. No help, no tricks, just truth. Agreed, and then let us begin. 0 dives, Axel pulls up, dance starts, over jungle. 10,000 feet, 2 men who should be enemies, begin. Prove respect and violence exists same moment. 12:09 hours. Tanaka dives first, controlled. 0 drops 45 degrees, speed building. Testing, watching how American responds. Axel pulls up, uses P-38's power, climbs 30 degrees. Aircraft pass 500 yards. Neither fires. Reconnaissance. Learning. Circle again. Higher. 11,000. Jungle below green carpet. Silent witness. 12. 11. Tanaka commits. Barrel roll into diving turn. Coming high quarter. Classic. Elegant. 6 years combat distilled one maneuver. Axel turns into him. Not hard. Just enough spoil deflection. Tanaka fires anyway. Short burst. Tracers arc past. Warning or calibration. Merge. Past canopy to canopy. 50 feet. Axel sees Tanaka's face. Young. Focused. Professional. No hatred. Just concentration. 12-13. Axel's turn attack. Uses altitude. Chandelle climb rolls over top. Comes down from above. P-38's speed advantage shows. 400 mpr dive. Tanaka doesn't run. Pulls into attack. Head on. Closing speed 700 mph. Both fire. Sky fills tracers. Lines light connecting machines. Men. Philosophies. Axel's rounds miss. Deflection wrong. Too much lead. Tanaka's rounds walk across P-38's right wing. 4 hits. 7.7 millimeter. Small caliber. Punch through aluminum. Exit top. Damage not critical. Pass. Merge. Separate. 12-15. Fight continues. Turn and counter. Neither gains advantage. Tanaka lighter turns tighter. Axel faster climbs better. Physics balance. But Axel has one thing Tanaka doesn't know. Thing he's been saving. Technique that cost Howell life. Bent McCready's airframes. Changed how P-38's fight. Sets it up. Lets Tanaka get position. Lets Zero slide on to 6 o'clock. 300 yards. Close. Dangerous. Tanaka fires. Confident. This is kill. American-made mistake. Axel pulls. Hard. Maximum performance. Left 54. Right 42. Full rudder. Buffeting immediate. P-38 pivots. Turn radius collapses. 780 becomes 600. 550. 520. 510. Not tight as Zero, but tighter than any Zero pilot seen P-38 turn. Tanaka's eyes widen. Seen this September 12th. But seeing demonstrated against others and experiencing yourself different. Tries tight known turn. Zero responds, but physics is physics. 492 tight as A6M5 manages without stalling. Axel turning 510, 18 feet tighter. In turning fight, 18 feet difference between gun sight settling and overshooting. Gun sight settles. Axel fires, 4-second burst, 160 rounds, 16 cannon. Zero's left wing root erupts. Not clean, grazing, but enough. Hydraulic lines rupture. Control cables sever. Aileron goes limp. Tanaka's Zero snaps right. Uncontrolled. He fights it. Skilled hands. But Zero with one aileron is Zero out control. Doesn't bail. Rides down. Fighting every foot. Gets spin under control 3,000. Pulls out 1,500. Smoking. Damaged. Flying. Turns east. Toward Raboul. Home. Axel doesn't chase. This wasn't about kills, about answers. Both men got theirs. 12-18. Sky empty again. Just Axel and P-38 and long flight back. Dutch's voice. You alive? Yeah. He's running. Want me pursue? Negative, let him go. Silence, then understood. Let's go home. Turn south. 2 P-38s. 1 damaged, 1 fresh. Both carrying pilots understand respect and violence exists same moment. Landing routine. Debriefing short. Hadley asks questions. Axel answers. No kills, no losses. Just Duel proved what needed proving. That night, Tent Bones asks, why'd you let him go? You had him. Because killing him wouldn't change anything. Technique works. He saw, I saw, that's enough. And if he comes back, then we do it again, but I don't think he will. Bones considers, pours whiskey. To questions answered. To questions answered. Drink. Outside rain starts. For once, Axel doesn't mind. The Ripple, 1944, January-December, 1944. Technique spreads beyond 49th. Pilots rotate stateside. Tell others, demonstrate training. By March, Lindgren taught Luke Field, Arizona. Not officially. But instructors who've flown combat, seen it work, teach anyway. Statistics undeniable. P-38 loss rates. Pacific. Second half, 1943, 14.2% per sortie. First half 1944, 11 to 8%. Second half 1944, 9.7%. Numbers bloodless. Behind each percentage, men. 31st half year, 42nd. 70 pilots walk away. Fights shouldn't survived. No one attributes directly to one technique. War too chaotic. Too many variables. But pilots know. Ones who use know. April 1944. Axel rotated stateside. Too many combat hours. Too much stress. Flight surgeons note weight loss tremor, hands waist startles, loud noises. Combat fatigue. Different names, shell shock, nerves, all same. Body keeping score when mind tries forget. Spends 2 months rest facility, California. Writing reports. Teaching. Trying sleep without seeing Howell's crash P-38, without hearing metal scream, wing spar cracks. May 1944. Walter Reed Hospital, Washington, D.C. Minor surgery removes shrapnel shoulder. Fragments, September 12th. Fight work surface. Small, not life-threatening. Must come out. Nurse who assists named Lorelei Brennan. 23, Madison, Wisconsin. Blonde, green eyes. Way moving efficient without cold. Recognizes his name newspapers. Doesn't mention. Treats like any patient. Changes bandages. Monitors vitals. Doesn't ask combat. He appreciates that. Silence, professionalism. Third day she asks, "You're from Wisconsin." Superior, you Madison. Different world from Superior. Yeah, but same weather. She smiles. Small, real. Same weather. Talk about home. Farms in snow and Way Lake, Michigan looks January. Nothing deep, nothing war. Just two people, same frozen corner world, finding common ground, hospital room 1,000 miles from both. Discharged, he asks, can write her. She says yes. Gives address. Military postal. Letters take weeks, cross oceans. He writes from California. Then Arizona when assigned training command. She writes back. Long letters. Thoughtful. About work. Soldiers she sees. One's come back broken ways, visible and invisible. Never had real date. Never held hands. Never kissed. But letters create something. Foundation. Possibility. By December, asking questions, letters, nothing to do weather. By February 1945, has answer. February 14th, 1945. Valentine's Day. Small chapel, Burbank, California. Axel Lindgren marries Lorelei Brennan. Dutch best man. Bones attends. McCready. Dozen pilots learn technique, live because. Ceremony short. Military. Kind wedding when world still war and tomorrow uncertain. Lorelei wears simple dress. White. No train. No veil. Practical. Beautiful. Axel wears Class A uniform. Ribbons chest, distinguished flying cross. Silver star. Air medal with clusters. 40 confirmed kills represented small pieces colored fabric. Chaplain reads scripture. Exchange vows. Simple words. Forever and faithful until death. Don't say till death do us part, because death too present, too recent. Say in this life and beyond, because leaves room hope. Reception, cake and coffee. Church basement. No alcohol, no band. Just people glad see joy world been dark too long. That night, small apartment, Burbank, Lorelei asks, "Are you done fighting?" War's almost over. Germany collapsing. Japan won't last much longer. That's not what I asked. Axel quiet. Yeah, done. No more combat. Just training. After war. After war, Lockheed offered job. Test pilot. New jets. P-38 program. Dangerous but not combat. She takes his hand. Promise you'll be careful. I promise. Promise he means. Promise he'll try keep. But fate and engine failures don't care promises. August 6, 1945. 06:15 hours. Burbank. Radio crackles to life. Small apartment. Morning news. Axel shaving. Lorelei making coffee. Routine. Domestic. Morning feels permanent. Announcer's voice cuts through. We interrupt this program. Special bulletin, War Department. President Truman announced American forces dropped entirely new type bomb, Japanese city Hiroshima. Single bomb with power 20,000 tons TNT. Axel stops shaving. He puts down razor. Walks radio. Lorelei frozen. Coffee pot in hand. What does mean? Means war's over. Japan can't survive this. How many people? He doesn't answer. Number doesn't exist yet. Won't for days. But both know it's massive, unprecedented. Death toll makes every bomb before seem small. Stand silence. Listening radio. War took 6 years. 60 million lives. Changed everything. It's ending. Not surrender, not negotiation. With physics so violent makes combat seem quaint. Axel thinks about Tanaka, wonders if he's still alive, if he's in Japan, if he'll survive what comes next. 14,000 hours, Axel reports Lockheed. P-80 test flight still on. War or no war, future aviation doesn't stop. McCready there, transferred Lockheed after war wound down. Same job, different employer. Walks through pre-flight. She's temperamental, McCready says. Points Allison J-33 turbojet. Not like piston engines, no torque, no reciprocating mass, just pure thrust. But sensitive, fuel pump's been giving trouble. Think we fixed, but with jets you don't get warning. Piston engine quits, you've got time. Glide distance. Options, jet quits, you've got seconds, maybe. Understood. Ejection seats new. Baker built. Supposed work up 500 feet, but not tested much. How much? Not much. Twice. Both successful. McCready's face serious. Point is, something goes wrong, take off, you eject. Don't try to save aircraft. Just punch out. Clear. Clear. McCready hands clipboard, final checklist. Axel signs, his last signature aircraft logbook. 14:30 hours. Lockheed Air Terminal, Burbank. P-80, Shooting Star sits ramp. Sleek, silver, no propeller, just intake and exhaust, and 5,000 pounds thrust waiting happen. Axel climbs ladder, settles cockpit. Ejection seat uncomfortable. Hard. Leg restraints feel wrong, but price new safety feature. Runs checklist. Fuel full. Hydraulics pressure good. Flight controls free correct. Engine start different, anything flown. Ignition. J-33 winds up. Not immediate roar piston engine. Gradual build. Whine increasing howl. Smell kerosene. Heat shimmer exhaust. Tower clears takeoff. Runway 33. Wind calm. Visibility unlimited. Taxis. P-80 light nose wheel. Twitchy. Responsive. And at threshold holds brakes. Runs engine up. Checks temps. Pressures. Everything green. Everything nominal. Release brakes. Throttle forward. P-80 accelerates. Not like P-38. Faster, smoother. Thrust constant. No torque fight. No prop wash buffeting. 40 milliampere. 60. 80. Nose wheel lifts. 100 milliampere. Mains leave runway. Climbing. 200 feet. 250. 300. Engine coughs. Not loud. Just hiccup. Momentary lost thrust. Then back normal. Axel's hand moves throttle. Reduces power slightly. Engine smooths, but then coughs again. Harder. RPM drops. Exhaust gas temp spikes. Red line. Fuel pump failure. Thing McCready warned. Axel at 320 feet. Climbing through 400. Airspeed 110 ppm/h. Has maybe 5 seconds before engine quits completely. 3 options, same as always. 1. Try restart. Procedure complex, takes 20 seconds minimum. Doesn't have 20 seconds. 2. Try land straight ahead. But no runway ahead. Just buildings, factories, houses, people. 3. Eject. Use Baker seat. Trust technology. Engine quits. Not cough. Complete flame out. Howl dies, whisper. Thrust goes 0. P-80 gliding, sinking. 300 feet altitude. 105 glide ratio, maybe 8 to 1. Gives 2,400 feet forward travel. Not enough reach anything but houses. McCready's voice memory. Don't try save aircraft, just punch out. Axel reaches ejection handle. Squeezes. Pulls. Nothing happens. Pulls again. Harder. Mechanism jammed. Or broken. Or doing wrong in panic. 250 feet. 100 emergency. Ground rushing. Tries manual bailout. Jettisons canopy. Flies off. Wind roar. But ejection seats still locked. Leg restraints won't release. 200 feet. 90 mph. Gives up seat. Tries climb out manually. But wind too strong. Forces too great. 150 feet. 80 mph. Sees field. Open ground. 400 yards ahead. If can stretch, glide hold airspeed of 100 feet. 70 mph. Below glide speed. Sinking fast. On ground. McCready running. Dutch running. Lorelei running. She'd come watch. See him fly. Wave when landed. Now running toward crash site before even happened. 50 feet. P-80 nose high. Stalled. Falling. Not gliding. Falling. Axel has 1 second. One thought. Manual said, don't try save it, but I had to try. Impact. P-80 hits flat. Belly first, landing gear up. Fuselage takes force. Aluminum crumples. Fuel tanks rupture. Jet fuel sprays. Axle thrown forward against harness. Head hits gun sight. World goes white. Then black. Then fire. JP-4 ignites. Not explosion. Just combustion. Fast spreading. All consuming. McCready reaches wreckage first. Tries get close. Heat drives back. Flames too intense. Too fast. Dutch arrives. Pulls McCready away. He's gone. Can't help. The goddamn seat jammed. Goddamn seat jammed. Lorelei stops 50 yards away, stares. Her husband 6 months is in that fire. Was in fire. Can't process tense. Can't accept transition from is to was. Doesn't scream. Doesn't cry. Just stands. Frozen. While thing that was P-80, that was future, that was Axel burns. Fire trucks arrive. Spray foam. Flames die. Steam rises. Chemical smell mixing burned metal and things no one wants identify. When pull body wreckage clear, he died on impact. Fire came after. Small mercy. Only Mercy Day has none. Body burned, but dog tags survive. Axel Lindgren. Serial number. Blood type. Religion. Small pieces stamped metal outlast man. Epilogue, The Weight of Wings, August 10, 1945. Arlington National Cemetery. Funeral full honors. Rifle salute, folded flag. Taps played bugler, who's done this too many times. President Truman sends telegram. Condolences, widow. Recognition service. Words mean everything and nothing. Dutch gives eulogy. 31 now. Looks 50. War-aged everyone. Axel Lindgren was best pilot I ever flew with. But that's not why we're here. We're here because he was kind man who saw a problem everyone accepted and decided solve it anyway. Manuel said P-38 couldn't dogfight. Axel asked why not. And when Manuel didn't have answer, he found one himself. He saved lives, dozens, maybe hundreds if count pilots learned from him. Did that not by following rules but understanding when rules were suggestions instead laws. He died testing limits new machine. Same way he lived. Same way his father taught. And if there's any comfort, it's knowing he wouldn't wanted it any other way. Dutch's voice cracks. Once. Clears throat. Finishes. Limits are what weak men accept. Axel was not weak. Rifles fire, 3 volleys. Flag folded. Presented Lorelei. She holds. Clutches. Only piece him she gets keep. 1947. Technique officially documented. High-performance maneuvering twin-engine fighters. Author Major Axel Lindgren. Posthumous, declassified training manuals. Published Army Air Forces. Manual includes diagrams. Throttle settings. Warning structural limits. Case studies combat. Becomes required reading test pilot school. Axel never wrote it. Dutch did. Bones helped. McCready provided technical drawings, but Axel's name on cover because ideas were his. 1952. Lorelei remarries doctor from